good morning from one of my favorite cities in the world. Here we are in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Tonight we're flying on the Airbus A330-200 down to Perth in business class. Unfortunately, Malaysia Airlines swapped the plane from the A330-300 to the 200. So the business class product is worse, and it's not Malaysia's, it's technically Air Berlin, because Malaysia got the Air Berlin planes. So it's still Air Berlin business class, which is a worse product, but what can you do? They did swap it last minute a few days ago. It's still fine. It's still a great Malaysia Airlines service. 5.5 hours down to Perth. I paid 33,000 Cathay Pacific Asia miles for the flight, and it included a short connecting domestic flight yesterday from Kuantan and about $75 in tax, which is a pretty good deal for business class on that flight. So yeah, I'm excited for that, but first I'm gonna do some shopping at KLCC here. Alright, I am now showered, changed, and packed and ready to go to KLIA Terminal 1. The flight departs in about 4 or so hours, so I'll just relax in the lounge. One last final view of beautiful Kuala Lumpur for a bit. Probably be back soon. It was lovely to be in Malaysia for about a week or so, and now I'm excited to go to Australia. I took the KLIA Express train to the airport, which took about 30 minutes. Terminal 1 is used by all normal airlines, while Terminal 2 is the low-cost terminal. Even though I had already checked in online, I quickly found Malaysia Airlines' business class check-in area and had my boarding pass for Perth printed. All passengers flying in business class are eligible to use this check-in area. If you hold One World, Emerald, Sapphire, or Ruby status, you can also check in here. After check-in, I proceeded to the international departures. Alright, so now I am through immigration. It was painless. There was a special queue for business and first class passengers, so I got through in no time, while the general foreigner queue was pretty long. So now my flight departs from the G gates, which means I don't have to take the bus to the satellite terminal, and which means we're going to use the regional Malaysia Airlines Golden Lounge.
So another very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to our senior rich and one world frequent class members. I'm Robin, your flight supervisor.
Boarding for the flight to Perth began about 30 minutes prior to departure. I was one of the first passengers to board the A330-200 and was warmly welcomed by the cabin crew.
On behalf of Captain Adrian Jimmy, our flight to Perth is 5 hours and 10 minutes. All training devices must now be disconnected from basic power supply system for taxi and takeoff.
The business class cabin is quite old on this plane because Malaysia Airlines never installed their actual business class product when they took the plane from Air Berlin. Malaysia Airlines mainly flies these older A330-200s on regional routes within Asia, and the seats of course do go fully flat. In front of you, you'll find the in-flight entertainment screen as well as the tray table. A small storage area is available under the ottoman. A universal power socket is offered at every business class seat. On the side panel, you'll find a reading light, as well as the seat controls and in-flight entertainment controls. A USB port and a headphone jack is located right under the armrest. The headphones provided for noise cancelling. I love that MH still publishes an in-flight magazine. A pillow and thin blanket were at every seat. Welcome aboard the Malaysia A330-200 business class lavatory, and oh my god, the plane is ancient. Business class is ancient. Air Berlin called and they want their planes back, but there's not really many amenities here. Hand cream and facial mist were available in the lavatory. During the boarding process, we were offered a hot towel as well as a welcome drink. Malaysia Airlines' awesome in-flight safety video was shown.
Welcome aboard Malaysia Airlines 723 Once again, welcome aboard Malaysia Airlines, and we hope you enjoy Malaysian hospitality.
The in-flight entertainment featured a variety of different movies, TV shows, music albums. However, I decided to skip all of that and simply had the Airshow on for most of the flight.
Once we get airborne today, our routing will take us generally in the south-south-easterly direction. Our routing will take us via Jakarta this evening, and then making a slight right turn over the Indian Ocean and straight towards Perth. It's 5 hours and 10 minutes of flight time this evening. Sit back, relax, and do enjoy our great Malaysian hospitality.
A business class menu was distributed shortly before we took off from KL. This flight features a main meal service after takeoff with snacks available throughout the flight. However, there is no meal served prior to arrival. Simply pause the video if you'd like to read the menu. Bottles of water were handed out to each passenger. The cabin crew were of course awesome on this flight.
Oh yeah, sure.
And they even explained that this isn't their usual plane with their usual business class.
It's not like your plane.
Yeah, I know, because the usual one is the other. Thank you.
The dining experience began with some peanuts and a drink of your choice.
What can I offer you? Do you have champagne?
In the cabin, we have 10 crew members. Good-looking flight supervisor is Mr. Robin. The weatherman has forecasted weather to be a little bit bumpy, maybe cloudy even the first half of the journey, first 2.5 hours. And it starts getting better. And as we get into Perth later on in the early morning, the weather is fine.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama. I'll feel up for you later.
Sure.
Have a good flight, sit back, relax. And just before we get closer to us, I'll come back with some update.
Okay, for some satay mixture.
A mixture of delicious satay was up first on the menu,
Thank you.
and it definitely didn't disappoint. It was absolutely delicious. This was my favorite part of the whole meal service. The appetizer followed the satay service and consisted of a smoked salmon rolled with cream cheese, and it was quite tasty. On some business class flights, you can pre-order a main course from a more extensive menu online, and this is exactly what I did. The dessert consisted of a cake, and I also asked for some teh tarik as well as guava juice. All three of these were a perfect combination to finish the meal. The service was finished about 2.5 hours after takeoff. I turned my seat into a bed and rested after the meal. I had no trouble napping, but I don't think I would love this seat on a longer flight. About 45 minutes before landing, I ordered some teh tarik. The cabin lights were turned all the way up, and the cabin crew began to prepare the cabin for arrival.
Terima kasih kerana terbang bersama Malaysia Airlines dan kami berharap anda telah menikmati Malaysian Hospitality. Welcome to Perth International Airport.
Overall, another awesome flight with Malaysia Airlines, and I was definitely happy to be back in Australia.